this is why I think the studios and the writers for Korra hated Korra. There was disjointed scheduling of whether it's going to be on air, on TV, or online. That was one thing. And then I was, the studio was always making notes. Like, always making notes. It was like, but can you do this, this, or this? Can you do this, this, this? Because I think in their mind, they could, like, force another replication, right? The reason why the first season cooked so well is because they let them cook, right? That era of Nick Studios let them cook. They let them cook. They let them do their thing. This era that they're currently in, they were currently in at the time. They were like, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. You can't have any LGBT characters. They were trying to go for that as like, hey, this is our expression on this. This is our thought on this. And Nickelodeon and them didn't really work well. Nickelodeon did some bad parts, and they were hard to work with. Then Netflix was hard to work with. They were hard to work with Netflix because they want full creative control, right? Studios aren't going to just give you full creative control unless you have, unless you're a even a Christopher Nolan. But it's like you have to be proven time and time again to be perfect, to do the product right. And it's hard to be an artist in Hollywood and be a creative person because they're gonna have notes on this and this and this and this. Because they want their creative control. They want to have some input. Now, now they see this. They hate core. The writers hate core. They had no creative control. They didn't know whether the show was going to be on TV or on online. For a long time, no one told nobody. You have to go to regular Nickelodeon website. You had to go through these like not illegal websites, these other websites to find the core thing. No one told nobody where it was going to be. No one said it because no one said to the fans, "Hey, go to the local, go to your not local, excuse me, go to Nickelodeon's website." No one said that. For the longest time, we had to go hunt it down. But each website was being taken down, taken down, taken down. And then somebody finally said online, "Oh, guys, go to the Nickelodeon website." I'm like, okay, because they didn't tell us, "Oh, it's gonna be online." They just said, "Hey, it's gonna be online." Didn't tell anybody. So, and I think it was just like at that time, Nickelodeon, the studio was changing. Right? It was just changing from whatever to whatever, right? To more lucid, more like loosey goosey rules, just be making sure it's for kids, to be more conservative and less more liberal to more conservative with their input and their politics. And it's just like they didn't see Avatar as a Korra. I didn't see Korra as a profitable thing because it's to them it's not like going to be Star Wars, but to us the fans, this is the next Star Wars. This is the next thing that's coming up. They do have problems, certain issues with it, but you know, I just think people really gotta let people have control. Let the studio have control. It was mixed bag of what they wanted to do. The studio hates it because it wasn't. They did even the writers, people who were writing it, they didn't know it was going to have a first. They know they had one season. Then the next season they had them. They it was like one step at a time with the seasons. It wasn't like a full boat. Hey, we have 4 seasons. You have 4 seasons to do, and then they know that automatically. There was like each step. They were like, it was like one day they know they had a full studio. They thought they were going to get canceled. Communication was crappy. Communication was crappy at this point of the Korra, right? It was just crappy because it was like, oh well, we're gonna, you might have your first season was without being canceled. Then the second season was like, okay, they did their thing with the second season, but it was like they were so much hindrance into certain things, you know, and there was so much hindrance by the studio on them. I was like, okay, first of all, if there's a gay cartoon character, it's not gonna make the kids gay. I think kids are pretty intelligent and think, hey, is this for me? Do I think it's a representation, right? There need to be more gay characters. There need to be more representation of people. There's not one mode of humanity. You know what I'm saying? Well, and back to Korra. Go back to Korra. So going back to Korra, it's like the schedule was crazy. They didn't know that they're gonna have a second season. They didn't know they were gonna have a third season. Because usually what I've heard is they let you know how many seasons you have, right? But it was like they didn't communicate that off the bat. Like, hey, this is gonna have 4 seasons, and then from there you just go from there. Or they're supposed to tell you more like communicative, like, hey, we'll let you know if you have more seasons. The seasons get picked up. You can get more seasons picked up. But I just feel like they didn't tell them. The communication was bad. They put things online and didn't let nobody know. They let nobody know, hey, this season is going to be online and it's going to be on Nickelodeon's website. They didn't let nobody know it was going to be on Nickelodeon's website. If I'm repeating myself. And it's like, even then, the people didn't know what it's going to be, if it's going to be on. The writers were like, oh, it's online. They just could put it online. They found out way after us, like, oh, it was online this whole time. Not way after us. They found sometime after they've written the show, oh, it's going to be online. So it's like, so why is it going to be online now? Because they say then you could do. My thought. So it's going to be online, so they could do the gay thing up online, and then people could find it, and it's not by the studio itself. So they have my thought. Okay, they're probably going to put this on some other website, and then let them do it. But I'm like, well, they put it on Nickelodeon's website anyway. So what's the point of like putting it online and then you want them to do the gay thing, the gay character online? So I'm like, okay, the purpose of them being online is, okay, it's online. Not a lot of people are online. The fans can see it online as a gay character or whatever. Cool. But they put it back on TV for a little bit. Then they put it they put it back. They stayed online, and it's just like it was online the rest of its shit thing. So I'm like, so why did it matter if she was? Because the people were communicating at the end like, oh well, you couldn't do only certain things, like you couldn't do gay or like LGBT. They had kissing characters. They couldn't do kissing. They couldn't do making out. They couldn't show real romance because Paramount and them are conservative. Whatever. They have a right to believe what they want to believe. But at the same time, it's like, bro, it's online. So what you think is going to go? You think there's nobody online to see it? Or you think there's no people online? There's no people on the internet, right? Come on. So this is like the hectic scheduling, putting things online, the freaking control of the process was kind of like studios were getting notes every couple of days. Like it was like bad notes. The first season was fine. The first season they let off with a little with no hitch. But the second season was like they started getting a little bit notes. They started saying, "Hey, don't do this, don't do this," and it became very heavy. And it was a hectic time for the creatives of the Avatar and the studio. I think the studio wasn't really helping at the time. It was just like the studio was finding itself, and it's just It's ridiculous. Like, comment, follow. Deuces. Oh, one more thing. I think this is why they hate it, because they had their scheduling, all this other stuff. But I also feel like they didn't like the character because they of what they went through. They put that on Korra. That's why they put all that energy on Korra. That's why they hate her so much. Like, comment, follow. Deuces.